So, coming live straight from Brooklyn, New York, but on the bike. So, just setting it up a little bit so that we can get a nice, clear view of me on the Peloton. I'm riding today, so ride with me. I usually say walk with me, ride with me as I process through some of these autism parenting and how to be mentally strong and just navigating this space. Hi, if you guys are popping in, say hi. A hi, it does matter. I'm going to keep saying that because it really does matter. And I really wanted to do a different type of live today because I've had a few situations happen today. And I said, I got to just change it up a little bit, right? First, I want to say my deepest condolences to one of my good friends whose mom has passed away, who was living with dementia. So she has been through a lot in the caregiving space. And as a friend, it was really, really good to make it to show her some love and show her some support in that space. So, shout out for anyone who's dealing with caregiving parents and also who may have to encounter caregiving parents with dementia. It will have a lot to do with autism parenting and the message I'm going to have for you guys. So, if you do know someone who is caregiving parents and or caregiving parents with dementia or is a parent of a child on the spectrum, this message is for you about being mentally strong. The reason why I am targeting this topic is because one of my really close friends just keeps asking me, how do you do it, Allie? How do you do it? And I really pondered that question because even my mom asked me to ask that, like, how do you do it? When you're sitting down coaching folks and talking to people, how do you know what are the experiences or the information that you need to share with them? How do you trust it? And the key of trusting in this process is my own divine alignment and how I choose to tap into my inner power, my inner source, God, and truly listen to what information He wants me to share with the individual at that time. So, hi. If you're here, you're meant to be here. If you're here catching this message, and you definitely need to catch this message. And a lot of mental strength comes from self work. You know, it comes from the I am, the me, who I am. And I remember I had a client when I did a vision board, had to be over 10 years ago, my aunt, and she asked me, how are you so clear on this I am space? And I said, I just allow myself times to, hi, I see you popping in. Let me know where you're coming in from. I allow myself time and space to really tap into who I am beyond titles, beyond labels, beyond what people see, but who am I truly on the inside? And who do I strive to be? Who do I show up as? So one thing I usually do in mental strength is I ask others, like, how am I showing up for you in your life? And for those who have client, who have coached with, thank you. Oh, hola. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Those who are my clients, those are my friends, my family, people who I've coached with. They have shared their relationship with me and how they've learned so much and how sometimes just being in my space and, you know, the energetic connectivity and how I allow them to be themselves. I literally just got off a coaching call with Coach D, and she was mentioning, I said, what's your takeaway from today? And she says, I love the fact that you allow us to be and you still push us, right? And I'm like, how do you allow a person to be and still push them? And she said, it says you just take that time off to really see when we didn't get things done, you know, and what we're saying, if we're really tapped into what we're saying, the reason why we didn't get it done, and then you give us grace or allow us to give ourselves grace. And we're like, okay, you may not got it done, get that done, but how are we celebrating something of what you did get done? So I'm helping them to shift from that space of, oh my gosh, I didn't get what I need to get done, or I feel in that heavy space of not feeling very confident in myself, to, well, okay, you may not have got that done, but what did you get done? Let's celebrate what you did get done. And really taking them from that space as their starting spot. So, mental strength. Where do I want to come into this? Then, in terms of parenting special needs, or being a caregiver for someone that is dealing with special circumstances, the key is, yeah, of course, work on yourself first, right? To be a great caregiver, to be a productive parent, to be someone who wants to leave impact wherever you go. A lot of the work is self-work, is the work you do within yourself, taking time out for yourself, seeing how you can improve yourself each day, being a better listener. As an audiologist, it's really important to be a really, really good listener. And listener goes beyond the ears, right? Paying attention to everything that's verbal, nonverbal, cues, things that most people would miss, seeing beyond. A lot of that is spiritual work also, but truly working on your inner power, your inner being, and strengthening from within. And once we start strengthening from within, then we begin to see the results on the outside, and others begin to see and feel the results being around us. How does that relate to parenting or caregiving? Um, when we're around other souls, especially people who are dealing with specific circumstances like dementia, autism, or other mental health or physical disabilities, cognitive differences. I don't like to say disabilities, just differences. A lot of relating with them as caregivers and parents is truly the work we do within ourselves to allow ourselves more patience, right? Patience to be able to pay attention, patience to be able to relate, patience to be able to truly connect with the true person that's within, right? Dementia has a lot of memory loss and, can result in a lot of anger, as well as parenting special needs. Autism can result in a lot of anger with who you're relating to. And instead of taking it personally, because it could be so easy to take it personal, is realizing that some things go beyond what's being said on the outside. um, yeah, try not to take everything so personal. That's usually the first key in that aspect. And that then taps back into knowing who you are, right? When you're clear on who you are, then others, people, opinions and perceptions or what they may say does not impact you, right? It doesn't shape you to where you begin to feel resentful or to want to take back anger on them. It could hurt. Yeah, it may not feel great hearing. I'm not gonna say it's the easiest thing. God knows that's why the self work is so key and so instrumental. But that's where that mental strength comes in from, right? When you're caregiving and when you're taking care of those who may have situations where they're no longer themselves, or things may come out their mouth that can be very hurtful. Our mental strength as caregivers, as parents, is to truly work on our own fortitude, on our strength, on our mental strength. And that mental strength comes from knowing who you are, so that if others are saying things to you that may not necessarily be true, you don't take it so personal because you know who you are, right? Like I always say, I know my spirit, I know my heart, I know my intentions. I know it comes from a good space. Even whether it's being perceived on the other side as a good space or not, I'm not responsible for that. And a lot of people tend to base how they feel on whatever emotions they may be feeling at that time, right? So we're not responsible for others' responses. We're not responsible for their heaviness or whatever they may be dealing with in terms of their inner beings, and dealing with whatever illness or difficulties or challenges that may be showing up at that moment. But being mentally strong within ourselves as caregivers and as parents to rise above it, right? Rise above it, shine through it, don't allow it to penetrate within us. And when it does penetrate within us, have a safe space we can talk about it, or have our own healing mechanism where we can relate with. So a lot of times that's why I do a lot of exercise, or I may just take some self-care time, do some walking by myself, talk things out with a therapist and or with a guide, and or sometimes just going live and just talking it out with you guys helps in a way that it reminds me of who I am. Right? Sometimes you got to be reminded of who you are, and just being able to help others and to navigate through this space gives us that chance to not take everything on. And that's where the mental strength comes from. It comes from the self work we do within ourselves. It comes from the people who we surround ourselves with, choosing really, 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 really good people. People who are honest with us, but who can also protect our energy, and also allowing ourselves time to simply be, right? That's why I do my retreats. That's why I take time away and I go to our sanctuary in Aruba just to work on my inner being so I can care for others from a full cup, from a place of strength, from my own mental strength, and not from mental weakness, right? Or from being low or depleted in that space. It's important for us, especially when caregiving for others, that we take care of ourselves to be able to navigate when they have really rough times. Because no longer are we just being strong for ourselves. We're being strong for ourselves and we're being strong for others, which that's two or three sometimes when you're taking care of both your parent and your child. So mental strength comes from a lot of self work, comes from a lot of getting clear on who the I am is, who you are, right? And having a really tough skin when we go through those really challenging moments when they're questioning you and when you begin questioning yourself. So having a supportive space or, places where you can go to refill your cup allows you that opportunity also. So that was my quick little pop in. Just wanted to love on you guys live and do my little workout as I'm in, and I'm here spinning away. But also open to questions. So if you have questions, definitely drop your questions. Let me know your thoughts. Share, what it's like to be caregiving and taking care of either kids on the spectrum or parents with special circumstances. Um, Part of being at my friend's supportive space today was understanding that she's been taking care of her parent for a very, very long time. And it's been a lot, right? It's a lot when you're navigating not only just taking care of yourself, but taking care of others around you. And when mental health comes into place or when cognitive challenges come into space, it requires a lot out of you that sometimes you don't even know where it's coming from, right? Sometimes it could be coming from the bottom of the barrel. You're scraping to get the last of the energy to navigate taking care of these folks. So even though she was processing where she is right now, part of her, I know there's that space of relief, right? There's that space of I don't have to feel this huge responsibility like I had before. And it's a tough space because you mourn them not being there anymore, but then you also have that moment to celebrate finding yourself again and really allowing you to truly shine from within, where you're not feeling the heaviness of carrying others or knowing that you have these added responsibilities that sometimes you didn't know was going to come. But life, right? But life. Life will always throw you curveballs when you least expect it. So, gotta learn how to navigate it. And navigating it, even at times of hardness or complications, or it just feels super heavy, can be hard when you're by yourself and there's nowhere to turn to. And that's why I created this channel. So that we have a space to turn to where there's light. We have a space we can turn to for some answers. We have a space to turn to where we know, hey sis, you're not alone in this. There's others going through this. And it's okay to have rough moments. It's okay to have down moments. It's okay to have low moments. It doesn't stay that way forever once you continue tapping in and working on improving the I am, the true I am of who you really are inside. Hope you received that message, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye. Mom.